Beautiful people, what's the word, man? Great new day. Hope y'all feeling good. Hope I know some of us in a particular part of the land we reside in is experience an hour change, a daytime change, a sunset change. I don't know, you know what I'm saying, but I know it can wreak havoc on some of us, especially cats that be out and about, hooting with the owls, so to say, and then try to turn it back around, get back on schedule for the next day. It is what it is, and it's crazy. Before I get started, uh, you know, we allegedly live in a progressive world, but as a collective, we cannot figure out how to live in a progressive world. Time is a construct, and we are hell bent, most humans anyway, on meeting deadlines. Tick, 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 tick. You know what I'm saying? And I'll get to later, but I heard a phenomenal gentleman just speak about like you know, how fast it goes by. You get so hell bent and focused and tunnel vision on tick 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 tick. The next thing you know, you blink and you're 80 years old. So let's not trip on that. If you're woke, cool. If you're joining me, cool. If not, it is what it is. Check it out on the replay. With that being said, I am Smith, the speaker. This is my channel. Welcome. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, share it with your folks. You know what I'm saying? And this you know, so this particular endeavor of mine was spawned from another organic endeavor with the podcast, Public Comment. Some of you may be familiar with that and the energy over there. I would say before we go, the podcast, I want to evolve. You know what I'm saying? Do some things differently. I think the podcast is probably is a classic at this point, shall we say? And I think it'd be a little bit wiser for me to try to conduct my business of what I'm trying to do here on this platform, where it can be more of a visual, maybe even interactive uh, experience for folks. Because I think that's what I'm learning now in the whole social media experiments and revolution, is that a lot of people are drawn to the visual aspect, especially young people. And again, that's not a knock on anyone, but just having spending the last 72 hours or so with my 15-year-old nephew. Shout out little Neff. Um, I see that that phone and that video presentation is very, very powerful. So I think that's where, my channel is, Smith the Speaker. I think that's part of my evolution as a man, is understanding that in order for me to be effective, I too have to evolve and change and understand where the energy is and where people congregate to find some of their inspiration, their motivation, their education. And I think I have found it as we speak now. So again, welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful sunrise. I hope you are taking into account to be mindful and engage in being present. That's one of the things I'm trying to maneuver and accept, is that being present is powerful. That's what we have to be. And now how you want to talk about being present, that's another conversation. But I think in that, just the basic understanding of being present is powerful. When we understand and we control the very moment that we reside in, and being mindful and intentional of the actions of what we're doing in that presence, right? So dig that. So this particular month, and again, I missed 2 Sundays. I know it is what it is. Don't trip. You know what I'm saying? They don't pay me for this. I do this on my own just to make sure. And again, I just don't want to come on here and blah 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 blah. So I did have a series prepared for this month, Black Madness March, Black Madness March. And that came about because, there was a lot of energy for, Black History Month this past February. And I think there's just, the present state of our society. It just seemed like, to me, it seemed like Black History Month of 2025 was more of a negative thing to prove a point instead of celebrating and highlighting the greatness of Black humans and tomorrow. It seemed like we was stuck in trying to prove what our ancestors did, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. I totally understand. You know, um, and to me, I'm like, we ain't got to prove nothing. Let's celebrate who we are today, the accomplishments we've made, and the fight that still is in front of us, and the energy there. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I kind of got that. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not going to go into March negative. And I wanted to be positive, and I want us to celebrate who we are and the great things that we do. And if, again, talking about my podcast, Public Comment, I think I've established some credibility about the positivity that I tried to share, is because, I did the summer series highlighting Black women. I tried to do highlighting positive Black men as role models and the work these folks are doing in our community right now. We can talk about the past, that's not a problem, but I don't think we as Black people need to be offended that other people don't want to recognize what we do. That's just the society we live in. They've been stealing our culture since day one. So, I think we got more opportunity to move forward and look forward as a collective. And again, to me, it's another barrier is the collectiveness of us moving forward, doing the great things that our ancestors want us to do. So with all of that said, I did at the Black Madness March. I had a wonderful young lady scheduled today. Unfortunately, she got ill. And so we gonna get her back on hopefully next week or the weekend after. I got another young lady coming one of these Sundays in March. So today, what I'm going to do, just bear with me if you're in there. And I don't see too many followers on right now. That's all right. That's usually par for the course for me. I think a lot of people just rather watch at a later date at their convenience. Because let me say this, the reason I do Sunday morning at 9:00 a.m. On the West Coast is because of my conviction to going against the establishment. I think you already know I'm not a really big believer like a lot of folks are. Again, don't judge me. I'm not judging you. That's what you want to do it, right? But I understand that that's who I'm going up against. And I love that. I love that people are so committed to that they refuse to make time to listen to me. Who am I? You know what I'm saying? Who am I? Right? But I do that because I know those people who would want to listen to me have been listening to the same drag probably their entire life, and ain't nothing changed. But the human mind, muscle memory, beliefs, opinions, personal stances is a challenge to remove yourself from the hamster wheel. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I do this. That's why I do this. And because it gives me giggles. Two, if someone jumps off that hamster wheel, you never know. You know what I'm saying? There might be a better wheel, or maybe they ain't even a wheel at all. You might make some progress and get somewhere. Ooh, so with all of that said, welcome. It won't be a long show today. We're already at 9:11, and I'm just blabbering. So just a couple of things really quick. You know, the 72 hours I just spent when we talk about positivity in the Black community, there's a lot of wonderful human beings doing amazing things. And then there are a lot of wonderful Black human beings doing amazing things. And then there are a lot of Black male human beings doing amazing things. And my book, if you haven't got it yet, I fit the description, is in a way a call to action. Now the book was my energy. And it was somewhere along in me. And let me say this, the book, I had spoke to a friend many years ago, many years ago. And it was like, uh, she was like, you got to write a book. And I had told her, because she's an author. And I was like, "No, you write the book for me." Or matter of fact, I think I was a little cockier than I said, "No, you gonna write the book about me," because people. It was like I was 20. Um, but now we reconnected, and she's she was floored to see that I had wrote the book, but she understood why I wrote it. And so, the book goes into, as I was sitting there at the conference. So let me just talk about the 72 hours. So as you are aware, um, or maybe you're not aware, I am a student at Solano Community College. Yes, I'm an old man and I do go to school. Um, and it was by the grace and compassion and empathy that my solid bruh, Mr. Shannon Danley, just tapped into me one day, just out of the clear blue. He called. He said, "Hey, dog." He said, man, you got some credits over here at Solano. Why don't you come back and do?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" Now, mind you, I'd been at Solano back in and now I'm looking at my phone because I'm waiting for some people to tap in. I might get some guests on here, but um, I'm like, I was a student back in early '90s, just trying to occupy some time, not really having an idea. I didn't even understand how college worked. I ain't gonna lie, just to do something. And then I left. There were some things going on, so I left. And 30 years later, here I am. He was like, "Man, you need to get back in here." And I was like, "Nah, let me go. Let me go see." So I get in there, and he's introducing me to these different things, and I'm like, "I love this." And then he introduced me to a men. It is African American Males Education Network and Development. It's uh, it's a charter club throughout. I think they said 50 plus junior colleges in the state of California, founded by these amazing, amazing young Black men um, who navigated uh, the junior college system, but saw a need, and instead of whining and complaining, they took action and they formed a men. And so we just went and attended the 18th annual Amen conference. I think this is my third time going. And so, you know, you get there, and I want to say this because the first time I went, I didn't know what to expect. And then, you get there and you look around and you see these brothers. Um, Representation matters, man. Representation matters. Um, in my ignorance at that time, and probably still today and long before that, in my ignorance, it was hard for me to conceptualize a cool Black man in the education institution, if that makes sense. Like, I thought you had to be one of the uptight, tied to the top, you know, uh, that Black guy to be in the medical field, to be in the education field, whatever. I just it because I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? because you only know what you know. And so I seen them and I'm like, man, look at these bruhs. They look like me. They sound out they're much younger than me, but they got suits on, but they rocking J's. They got suits on, and they got beards, and they talking my language. They're not trying to talk above me. Um, they're dancing. They're part of having a great time, and they're providing wisdom, pouring back, nurturing the souls of young Black men and even older men like myself. And so I was just like, what is this? And I was immediately drawn to it. And they have a wonderful, they put it together in a crazy, an amazing conference that spans 3 days. It just begins Wednesday afternoon, early evening, goes all day Thursday, closing ceremonies on Friday. Wednesday is the Knowledge Bowl, which I'll get to in a minute. But man, I'm trying to tell you, it is phenomenal, right? To see all of these brothers. And then what let me say this, man. It's easy to say, look what I did. They got a room that, when I say a room full, they got a conference ballroom, 1,500 people, and they still on humble ground, on humble pie, giving shots out to the women and the older men that pour into them to make this possible. Not once did one of them brothers say, look what I did. You know what I'm saying? They just don't rock like that because they understand that this ain't even about us. It's about these young people, and then it's about their young people that they're going to produce, and then the young people they're going to produce. We talking about longevity. You see what I'm saying? And so it's amazing, right? So that's kind of when I get the book, I'm like, you want us, see, the outside wants to perceive us the way they want to. They want to build this image of what they think Black men should look like, and then they start sensationalize that to our young brothers in high school and in middle school and in K through 6, and then these young brothers start to get that mentality that, oh, that's what I'm supposed to look like. This is what I'm supposed to do. It's pushed. That's a whole different culture, hip hop. That's different. And they're going to do what they got to do that way. And I'm not knocking that, I still do listen to rap. Don't get me wrong. But what I just think, I had thought this the other day, maybe a couple months ago. ESPN, and I'm not trying to plug them or nothing, but ESPN will routinely show, highlight, and sensationalize young Black men being 5-star athletes, or they have specials on what schools they going to. Imagine if instead of highlighting your only way to success as athlete, what if they did this young bruh is got a 5.0 and is starts his own business, his own LLC, understands the tax bracket, and he's going to go to MIT, or he's going to go to Howard, or he's going to go to Tuskegee or FAMU or Prairie View. What if they did that? And then you start to see young Black men going, oh, well, hey. You mean these books will do this for me? These books will get me some fame, because young people want to be, they want likes. So again, I think it's just, how they want to stereotype us. And as I get the book going, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. At the conference, you see these brothers, and the OG hit it. He said, yeah, I'm Black, and he looked lighter than me. He said, yeah, I'm Black. He said, but that's our greatness, is that we come in all shapes, sizes, and colors of hues. You feel me? And in that room, as I'm sitting there on Thursday, I see brothers that's short. I see brothers that's tall. And wasn't one announcement or performance piece of energy that suggests that there was any athletes in that room. You know what I'm saying? Not to say we couldn't be athletes if we wanted to, but that's not all we're about. So when I wrote, I fit the description, that was it, it innately and organically, simultaneously was doing what these young brothers do, and that's deconstruction, the thought process of that we can't. You know what I'm saying? And that this is all we are, right? So um it was marvelous as I'm in there, and so now the Knowledge Bowl, um uh shout out brother Brown, he Jamal, he runs the Knowledge Bowl, and I had the wonderful opportunity of being a participant for Solano the last 2 years. I wasn't on the team this year, but it wasn't my place to be there. Um, and the last 2 years, I think we came second, maybe third or something like that. We giving Jamal a hard time, you know. And so this year, the energy was there. The young bros did they thing, man. They showed up. Shout out my young homies, Solano Community College, a men's chapter. You know what I'm saying? They brought home the trophy. They hit that Knowledge Bowl thing. You know what I'm saying? 2025 Knowledge Bowl of men champs. So they got the trophy. I got a picture of it. They did the damn thing, and I'm so super proud of them. They earned it. And then on top of that, that same group of wonderful brothers, they were elected and voted and nominated as the Charter of the Year. Hey man, look, they had a combined grade point average. Well, I'm part of it, but I just wasn't on the team. But as the charter is concerned, collective GPA of 3.3, 3.2 point something, I think, but 3.3. That's major. That's major. You know what I'm saying? We got 20 something brothers in our chapter, and we got a collective GPA of 3.3. I'm gonna let that sit on you. You know what I'm saying? These is young brothers. They 20 years old, around there. They doing everything from biomed to accountant, to poli sci, to video film, and it's incredible to see that. It is incredible to see that and witness that and be amongst that, and I am so proud of them. And then none of that would be even possible out with the coldest. I put this on my social media the other day. This man is the most prolific black man I know. I'm gonna say that again. He is the most prolific black man I know, hands down. And I had said this a long time ago about this man to anybody in any space I enter into and his name comes up, or if I invoke his name into the conversation, I always compare him and I say he's the modern day W.E.B. Du Bois. I mean that. Now, again, I don't care about what your thoughts on Mr. Du Bois and some of his. I'm just talking about what this man does for other black men, what he does, his principles that he stands on. He is the reason that I'm back in school. He is the reason. He's the sole reason that my 53-year-old ass is back in school, right? He is the reason that a lot of these young brothers either enroll or stay at Solano. He's the reason why they either enroll or they stay, because some of them want to leave, but he understands what's out there and he works diligently to make sure that they stay. He makes sure that they got books, financial aid, housing, whatever it is, he makes sure that they got. He goes to bat for us every single day. Let me say this. I don't want you to think that's all he does. The man, he's a husband, he's a father, he's a grandfather. He has a full-time job. He is also a student working on his master's. Come on, man. And then he also is the advisor for 20 men in a charter club at the college. And then he's also part of some other committees at the college. He's also part, I think he is the president of the Minority Coalition. He's also a community activist doing work throughout Solano Community College. Come on. This is why I do this, to highlight bros like him. My man, Shannon Danley. Shannon is the most prolific black man I know. I love him with my heart. He knows that. I make sure I verbalize that to him. but he embodies what a men is about. When the bros got together, and I don't know all of their names, and I don't want to speak out of turn. I know there's Dr. Bush. If you don't know Dr. Bush, you better Google that boy. When he talk, you best to listen. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of wonderful brothers on there. But I can only imagine when they formulated this idea and they envisioned the long term, the long range vision was that there be men like Shannon to carry the work on. You know what I'm saying? Shannon, I love you, bro. You know the brothers appreciate you, and that's why all of this is happening. And then I want to stay on that topic really quick. We at 9:30. We good. There's a brother out there. He's retiring. But Terrence Thompson. I'm sorry, brother Terrence Thompson. Here's the cold part about your circle. The importance of social capital, your networking circle. My youngest son played baseball, as some of you know. And at one point I had to transition him out of the little pony because that wasn't getting us nowhere. He was already head and shoulders above that. So I moved him to basically AAU baseball, and he was playing up. He always played up. I get him on this one particular team. And there's, he's meeting some brothers and, he's doing this thing. And there's a cat on this team. Me and his dad start chopping it up. Come to find out, we both from Oakland, but we ain't highlighting like that. It's just part of the conversation. And then as our sons got to high school, they went to one different high school. We went to a different high school. And he was telling me about these wonderful things he was doing, not knowing, right? But he's telling me about these things. He's taking bros, down the HBCU tours and whatnot. I'm really not knowing like his grind. And so the first time I get to the men conference, I'm in awe, I'm walking around. Who do I see? Terrence is in the building. I'm like, bro, really? He was like, man, I've been doing this since day one. I'm like, oh, okay. Terrence is the man of the people. Not only did he work and fight for his son to do what they did or in our doing, he is also, again, doing the work for other young men that he has no blood or kin to, but he's doing that work, and now he's retiring. So, Terrence, bro, I love you. I appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? I see what you're doing. I know it's not going to stop. The crazy part about that is, even for the brothers that are on the executive board of a man, for brothers like Terrence, my man Shannon, and all the other wonderful advisors, because there's an advisor on every campus with the charter. You can retire, but you can't retire from the cause. You can retire from your profession. You can retire from your establishment. You can retire, but you can't retire from the cause. Fred Hampton said, you can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill a revolution. You know what I'm saying? You can retire from work, but you can't retire from the cause. And I know Terrence ain't going to retire from the cause. It's just not in him. And again, I know my circle of folks, when we in it, we 10 toes down, we in it. And you don't leave it. You don't ever let go. That's why Shannon's phone doesn't stop ringing. That's why Terrence can't stop doing what he's doing. That's why these brothers on the men can't stop doing what they doing 24/7, and that's the thing I would like to share is, I talk to different, and let me be really specific here so you understand what I'm talking about. I've talked to 3 different white women who are teachers in a certain district. Behind closed doors, they share with me, oh, Smith, I want to help. I see what you guys are doing. It's all wonderful, but that stuff stresses me out. I don't have the time. Really? Fuck. You think I got time? You don't think I'm stressed? I ain't got an option. You are so privileged that you have the option to think, oh, I'd like to do that, but that's just too much. I don't have the time. Ain't that some shit? The bros, we don't have no time. We can retire. We can go on vacation, but I bet you we ain't on vacation from the cause. I guarantee you that. I know these cats. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I spent my last 72 hours. Shout out to my viewers out there. I see you popping in there. I appreciate the time. Um, you know, the the part of what I get the kick out. So other than just being a place to rejuvenate, a safe place to reconnect with the brothers, reconnect with your own soul, your own spirit, your own sanity, because you get in you get into the grind, whether it's your work, whether you're an advisor, whether you're a student, whatever it is, you get into it and you almost lose sense of how valuable you are as an individual, as a black man. And so to get around these brothers and rejuvenate, to reconnect, to talk, to engage, to smile, to laugh, to hug, to say I love you, it's powerful, man. And I needed that. And the great thing I get about from it, other than the fellowship and the community, is the lessons. And they always have, hey man, I'm telling you, if you ain't never been to a men concert, because that's what it is, it's music. If you have never been to a men conference, you have to go. If not for the fellowship in the community, for the game that they give away. You know what I'm saying? I think it was last year or the year before Hill Harper was there. I never knew who Hill Harper was, but the game he gave away was incredible, and I can't remember all the other gentlemen that was the names of them, but their words still resonate with me. And what they went through, their experience and what they do. Brother Will, I see you, man. That's my guy. Man, if y'all don't know my man, Will is such a savage. Like, he holds you. I got off track now because my man Will. Listen, go check out my man Will. Listen, Will has conversations that engage your soul, your spirit, your mind, and he challenges you. He can sit there and complain and whine, but he doesn't. He holds you accountable. And then not hold you accountable, he asks you to challenge yourself. Why do you have that opinion? Good, bad, or indifference. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I appreciate about Will. Like, he's going to tell you how he feels. He's going to engage you to how you feel, but then you got to explain to me why you feel that way. And that's the great thing when you have men that are open to a conversation, but then have the principle to say, okay, I hear you, but now explain to me why. Don't just serve it to me on a plate cold. You're gonna have to warm it up, mix it up, put some ingredients in there, and tell me why it is. You know what I'm saying? The Contraband Wagon. Go check it out. He's on YouTube. He's on X. Listen, right now, I ain't gonna tell his business. He's doing some things. Go check him out. Me and him engaged. He had me on his show. And man, it's wonderful. So thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. So I want to get to the brothers that were there at a men this year. Listen, and this is again why I say school failed me. There was two gentlemen on this. There was three, but there were the two that stood out to me. I didn't know who they were. I'm 53. I did not know who these gentlemen were. Dr. Frazier, Dr. George Frazier. I know you know him. That man, his resume is incredible. Let me tell you something. His history, his work, his whole body of work is what they should be teaching K-6 in math. Kids don't need this Rudy Poot stuff that they talking about. They need to know who this gentleman is and how he operates. You know what I'm saying? Listen, he broke down a lot of things, man. Like, he got these 7 languages of currency, and one of them which stood out to me again, like I started this, is time, right? And the understanding that we all have as humans, we all have a certain amount of time granted to us. We don't know what that is. We don't know what it is, right? But that's why it can't be wasted. We all have it, but that's why it cannot be wasted. And regardless of what it is you're doing or not doing, that's your time. And it's so expensive that it's priceless that you can't get it back. That's what that man said. I was like, what? Like, that's your time, man. You know how valuable your time is? Dr. George Fraser, man, go check out his book. Go check out his work. Listen, man. I don't know all the things he does. I haven't read the book. It's on order. I haven't read. He shared, but it's so vast. You know. Then it was another gentleman. Well, it wasn't just a gentleman. He had his wife with him as well. And I was so upset with my education system that I did not know this man and his wife nor his family. And that's Mr. Bernard Kinsey and his wife Shirley. And if you don't know, they have the largest collection of Black artifacts, so to speak, paintings, writings, a collection of who's who and what's what in the world of anthropology. I think their current exhibit is at SoFi Stadium. It's been around the world. I think they said they got over or almost somewhere around 1,000 private pieces in their collection that has traveled the world. And the great thing, as I get up out of here really soon, I've been married to my most beautiful over 20 years. We've been together for more than 25 years. And that's work in itself. And that's grace and compassion on her part to put up for me that long and to allow me to do the fucking insane shit that I do and talk the way I talk and have the audacity to think I have the right or the power to change this world. She allows for that to happen. And without her, that's not even possible. Without my most beautiful, I'm not the man I am today. I know that for damn sure. And sometimes I take that for granted. I'm not going to cry, but sometimes I take that for granted and I shouldn't. But as I'm sitting there and I'm listening to Dr. Fraser and Mr. Kinsey, they had their wives with them, man. Now I'm going to get it. I'm not going to say who was with, but one was married 52 years. One was married 58 years. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. You talking about more than a half a century marriage. And then I believe it was Dr. Fraser broke it down like, understand. Now, again, I understand we're in a different time and marriages is on the down rise in the Black community and across the board. But without marriage, you don't have the family. And without the family, you don't have traditions. And without traditions, you don't have culture. God damn, when he said that, I was like, fuck. We gotta think some shit. You know what I'm saying? We gotta think some shit. He made a lot of comments that really struck with me. The one he said, and it wasn't a slap at the sister girls, but it's just how he said it in the delivery. He was like, man, some of our sister girls would rather have a baby than to be a wife. And I was like, damn, and he was talking about bruh, and then it hurt my heart because, I am a man and I used to be young. And the way you look at women, he was like, look at where we are, our young brothers, and how we portray women. And you wonder why our marriage rate is less than 30% in the Black community. So I believe Dr. Fraser and Mr. Kinsey was there to highlight and show and establish and educate and encourage the importance of financial literacy, which they did a phenomenal job at. But see, the great thing about being a G and having some lived experiences is you could talk about so many things and make it all connect back to financial literacy. You know what I'm saying? And they did an immaculate job at that. And I think I don't want to say I was I wasn't I was one of the older gentlemen in there, um, but it was still fascinating to learn that part, and understanding that there's so much work to do as a collective. It's not that we can't, we can, we have been, you know, um, and we will continue to do so, because as I looked around that room as I'm sitting there, and I got my nephew with me who's 15 years old, you only know what you introduced to. And then I introduced him to these men. Now his circle is powerful. His circle is enriched with men. Not to say that his dad and his uncles and his, not to say that I'm not saying that, but I'm saying ain't nothing wrong with adding to. We just can't divide and subtract. We got to add and multiply. So I added and I multiplied his social capital network. And now they're aware of my nephew and he is aware of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this is about. And so as I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him and I'm looking around, the future's good. You know what I'm saying? As I sit there and I ponder my children, my daughter, my sons, the future is good. We are in good hands. We just have to keep doing our part to be present, to be mindful, and understand our time is ticking. So we have to use it wisely. We have to be intentional about our words. We have to be purposeful about our actions. We have to be purposeful about our actions and what we do and when we do it and why we do it. Understand some of it, we can't be selfish with our purpose. Our purpose ain't even about us. I say this all the time. Every person that's in this cause, that's trying to do the work, understands it ain't even about me. We trying to deconstruct and reimagine and revitalize something that hasn't existed and deconstruct something that's been in place for 400 years. It can't happen overnight. It cannot happen overnight. And understand it's going to take multiple cogs working together as a collective to do this. And this is, do not fall victim to what's being portrayed. We have Black people in the House of Representatives, good, bad, or indifferent. We have people in the judicial system, good, bad, or indifferent. We have people in long-term financial institutions, banking, loaning. We have people in housing. We have people in medical field. We have people in the military. We have people in education. We have Black people in every walk of life doing the work. It's just going to take time. And the more we get young people who are away, because see, I want to be very clear with this. Some of the Black folks in those positions, in those institutions, still are operating in the 1.0 Black mind. We got young brothers coming up operating in 2.0 and 3.0 and yet seeing AI mode of articulating the thought and putting our experiences to the table. We are at the point where we don't have to worry about being in the space or in the table. We're at the point where we're creating the space and building the table. You understand? Our young people are vibrant. Our young people are thriving. We do have some young people we have to assist. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we're here for. And we must continue that. So shout out to my man, Shannon, Terrence, the brothers out of men. Shout out my man, Will. We're doing the work. You know what I'm saying? I want to say this before I get up out of here. I'm at 9:45. Understand when your vibe is right, it's undeniable. I was sitting there having lunch on Thursday. I get a phone call. What's up, dog? My boy tapped in with me just on some real love. Like, Smith, man, I see what you're doing, man. He knows I don't work for that. Me and him been knowing him for 20 years. He know I don't work for him to call me and say that, but he did. He found it in his heart. He took the time to say he loved me and he recognized the work I'm doing. You know how far that went with me? That same day I get a text from the different bruh. Schmidt, man, I love you. What? Come on, man. I don't come on here. I don't do the work that I do. I don't do none of this shit for people to come up in here and thank me. And I don't need no awards. I don't need nothing. I do it for the young people who don't have people doing it for them. You know what I'm saying? I do it for the young people who are going to have other young people, who are going to have other young people. And generations from now, someone's going to look back and say, damn, man, I heard this from Smith. And again, I don't need no nothing for that. I'm just saying, I heard it from Smith, or Smith introduced me to this because I didn't know. You see what I'm saying? So that's what today's energy is. That's what this month is the positive on the greatness of where we're going in the work we're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you've seen my last couple shows, and I had my brothers start on this, and I had my uncle on here, man, my OG uncle was on here giving away some game. My other uncle was on here. My cousins, my OG cousins was on here giving away some game. You know, cats I respect, man. They helped me. So now I'm helping back. And we're going to be positive about March with Black Madness and March doing wild things. I'm going to shut up. You know, if you know me, you know I don't fly. But I had to fly to LA, me and my nephew. I put it on myself to say I'm going to live in March. I'm going to live positive. I'm not going to fear nothing. I'm not having no negative energy in my shit in March. Now, shit might happen in May, but for March, I'm going to be positive, and the negative ain't going to get into my head. And I'm on that plane, and this is probably the two bumpiest rides I done had in a long time. Going to LA and flying back, it was it was bumpy, and I wasn't worried. My mindset had already told me, man, if it was, it was. There's nothing I can do. But I was okay, because I'm not letting shit no negative get into my mind. Just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna let no negative shit get into my mind. Not this month. No, not gonna happen. Top tier. Oh man, look. That's one of the little homies right there. Listen. So I met young bro. We was in a meeting. It's one of our meetings to do the men, right? And he said, man, I gotta move. I'm finishing up my movie. I'm like, let me see. I want to see. You know what I'm saying? Here's my thing, man. I want to support any young bro doing anything. I don't care what it is. I want to support, you know. And he was like, all right. So I thought he was just pushing me some shade, like it wasn't going to be done to the summer, you know, because I know how artists work. You know, they say it's almost done, and next thing you know, it's 3 years now because they got to perfect it, got to look. Sure as shit, shot me the flick. Let me tell y'all something, man. Young Black men are so talented and creative. You know what I'm saying? I watched this whole movie, and I was riveted because it's different. It's a story about the everyday story that we all know, but how he did it was different, and it captivated me. You know what I'm saying? And I told him that. And so then now we get to the conference the other day. One of the keynote speakers is up there talking, and he gives this boy a shout out. I'm like, is that your uncle or something? Like, I don't even know, bro. Like, how you know him? And he out there shouting him out, and I'm like, oh, okay, he different. And so when we had that conversation at the car, I said, man, how you know? And he said, look, man, he said, I've been knowing about old boy. He said, I already got his book. I already tapped in with him. He already know. He said, so I introduced myself to him. Let me tell you some young folks. Let me tell you some older folks. The obstacle is the challenge. And I heard that at the conference. The obstacle is the challenge, man. If you don't know how to network and shake somebody's hand and say hello, that's all you need after that. What's up? How you doing? I'm so-and-so. We don't know what you don't know if you don't try. You know what I'm saying? He said, Schmidt, he said, I already went up there and talked to him. You know what I'm saying? Connections, man. That's how we grow. Networking, supporting each other, talking, and not being so above reproach that people are scared to talk to you and to come up and tap in. Obviously, this man presented himself in a way that the young homie was like, okay, it's cool. I go tap in. You know what I'm saying? But that was the great thing about this. It's like nobody's better than nobody. Yeah, we all black. I might have a suit. You may not. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case is. But that don't mean we can't talk. That don't mean I can't show you how to get to this. Man, I'm good, folks. I'm good, man. I love y'all. I want to thank y'all for tuning in today. It's 9:50. I cannot say how proud I am to be a black man today. I cannot say in words how proud I am of my sons, of my nephews, of my cousins, of my uncles, of my father, of my grandfathers, and my great grandfathers, who I never got the chance to meet, but I'm forever in their favor. And that's why I do this shit. I do this shit for them. They didn't have this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So to my grandfathers, to my great grandfathers, to my pops, every black man out there, man, I love you. I appreciate you. You are worthy. You are valuable. You are capable. Most of all, man, you guys are loving. We are loving. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this particular episode. Black Madness March. Next Sunday is going down again. Hopefully, I got Sister Girl on. We're going to chop it up about some good old family stuff that probably needs to be discussed. But until then, like I always say, man, go have a conversation with someone that don't look like you, that don't sound like you. And if you listen and shut up, you just might learn something. Beautiful black people, I love you. We out.